Welcome all the parents and students to What Next, a career guidance webinar hosted by Wibgor Group of Schools to provide valuable insights and guidance for your future. We are thrilled to have you join us today. Our distinguished guest speaker for the day is Mr. Thomas John, who leads the student and counselor success team at iDream Career. With over 14 years of experience in learning and development space, and 9 of those years dedicated to career guidance. Mr. Thomas has been instrumental in helping thousands of students craft effective career plans. Additionally, he has trained hundreds of career counselors by designing comprehensive learning journey that aid in their training and certification at iDream Career. In 2018, Mr. Thomas served as a project manager for UNDP Karnataka project, where he played a pivotal role in helping 23,000 high school girls create better career pathways for themselves. We are honored to have Mr. Thomas with us today to guide us through the various career avenues available post grade 10 and the university placement guidance at India and overseas. His extensive experience and commitment to student success make him an invaluable resource for this webinar. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Thomas John. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pranav.
Yeah,
I'm just going to quickly try and see if I can share my screen.
yeah,
And very good evening to all of you. Thank you for waiting. For the ones who have come in on time, uh, uh, sorry to keep you waiting while we had more people joining. I hope my audio is clear and you can see me. You can see my presentation as
yes,
well.
yes, Thomas.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Very quickly, I think thank you for that very warm welcome. And I wanted to uh, uh, let the parents and the students know that today's session is going to be till 8:30. We want to be able to wrap up most of the information probably in an hour and then open up for questions. And we have seen some of the questions that have come in so far. And I've taken cognizance of that and I've tried to plug in a lot of your questions into my presentation itself. So hopefully I will have some of most of your queries answered by the end of the discussion itself. I'll also take you through a few tools, a few dashboards that we use to be able to provide career guidance to students at the Vibhya group of schools. So very happy to be working with the team here as well. Uh, I think I don't know whether most of us know that iDream Career has been recently on Shark Tank. We got recognized for our work with helping and guiding students across the country. Uh, and we also have been UNICEF's technical partner, CBSE's technical partner, in providing career guidance information to students. Uh, we work with more than 17 state governments and uh, I think more than millions of students. I've lost count. But I hope to actually talk about you because today's session is not about us. We would like to discuss with you. One is given that most of the students and parents here have children in grade 10. We'd like to focus on how to plan for careers at this stage, how to choose subjects. Uh, what are the various careers that are linked to your subject choices right now? Because there are certain careers that are open to you regardless of what subjects you study in grade 11 and 12. Right? I'm going to deep dive on those options that are directly linked to the choices you're making at this point in time, and how do you make those choices as well. Uh, I'm also going to discuss the iDream Career Dashboard, where the Vibhya group of schools have been working with us for the second year in a row right now, and being able to provide career guidance to students. Uh, and Before I begin, I have a few questions. So, while I have this on my screen, I just want to check if everyone has the raise your hand option. I'd like to first ask all of you, how many of you have already decided what career you want to go into? If you fall under yes in that category, you can click on raise your hand and that'll tell me. Thank you, Kathy. If anybody else is clear about what you want to do, right after college, or maybe even after school, or you're at least very clear on what subjects you want to choose. Great. So we have a couple of hands raised. Thank you for that. So the raise your hand option is working. So I'd like this session to be a little more interactive. So I'm going to keep asking you questions so that I understand what are your specific planning needs. And I hope that you all will respond when I ask you questions. That way, we hope to have an interactive session. And I'd like to ask you the first question, which is if you have the chat option next to you, what are the various factors that you consider when you're buying shoes? Uh, I'm sure the beginning of the academic year, most of us buy a lot of apparel, school footwear and non-school footwear as well. But what are the various things that you consider when you're buying shoes? And Pranav sir, let me know if there is a chat option and you are getting some responses on chat.
Yeah, we are on it. Still there are no
Comfort,
chats.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Comfort, look, okay. Price, yeah, very important. Brand, color, comfort. So I believe that while comfort is important, there are certain shoes that you wear which are not always comfortable, right? Price, of course, very important. You need to know whether the shoe is in your budget, whether it fits you, uh, whether the brand is there, and you look for the brand. I'm guessing because of quality, right? What if I tell you that when you choose shoes and the way you choose careers are not very different? The various factors that you consider, which is number one, size and comfort. What fits you does not need to fit your best friend, does not need to fit your brother and sister, but it needs to fit you. You will never buy a pair of shoes that does not fit you. However, I know that while you're growing up as students, I have often been forced to wear shoes which are one size or two sizes bigger than me because I'll grow into it. Right. So I know that you're not always buying shoes which are perfectly fitting your size. Some of you are expected to grow into it. Right? I hope I'm making sense so far. Right. So the same way you're looking at careers as well, it might not seem like you're going to fit into it right now, but you'll grow into it. Right. The price, the amount of money that I'm going to spend on college, on education, the amount of money I'm going to invest in my learning, and what do I expect as a salary? These are important factors that you would consider when you're choosing careers as well, right? The brand, the kind of college I want to go and study, and the kind of organization I want to go and work at. Uh, these are usually the reasons why you want to go into a legacy college, which is well renowned, and you don't look at brands differently, right? Brands are there for their quality assurance. Brands are there because they have stood the test of time. So the way you look at shoes and the way you look at your careers are not very different. I know it sounds very weird when I talk about my career and my chappal in the same sentence, but your size, design, color, brand, durability, comfort, price, and I think some of you have missed called purpose, because every one of you buy a pair of shoes for specific reasons, right? So I have a pair of formal shoes for very specific reasons. I have comfortable running shoes for running. I have hiking shoes for some other purpose. I'm sure you're not wearing your stilettos to a basketball game. So every pair of shoe that you have has a purpose. So careers are no different than that. Careers also serve a purpose. Careers also don't need to last as long as your entire life. You can change your careers multiple times. And in fact, one of the things that probably got missed out in my introduction is I never decided to become a career counselor. In fact, if you can ask your parents as well, how many of you have planned to be where you are at right in school? A lot of us, despite our planning, despite what subjects we studied in school, and whatever subjects we studied in college, we tend to do make different choices over time. Right? I'm going to discuss those reasons as well. But I'm also going to discuss with you uh, what are the various factors that you would consider when you're choosing a career. One is, of course, skills. And skills don't mean qualifications. They don't mean, it means a demonstrated ability to do a task well. If you look at the most effective definition of the word skill, it does not mean a qualification. It does not mean a certificate. It means, can you prove that you're able to do a particular task really well, right? So as long as you can prove that you're really good at something, that's particularly a skill. Uh, you also have to consider your aptitude, your interests, your values and motivations. Your aptitude is your ability to learn things efficiently, right? I'm sure that as students and as parents, you might have observed that there are certain subjects with little less effort, you're able to understand it very easily. There are certain subjects you put in a lot of effort, and it still is a struggle to understand, right? So it purely depends on how your brain works and what kind of subjects you really understand well. What are the things that you're naturally capable of is what your aptitude really is. At the Vibgyor group of schools, we've conducted psychometric assessments where iDream Career evaluates aptitude, personality, and interest. Uh, why we do this is because unfortunately we too often consider careers simply based on academic aptitude. Hey, if you're good at a particular subject, go choose that career. But there are so many other factors that you consider as well, which is one is your personality. There are certain personality types that work very well with certain types of careers. Uh, I would really appreciate if you could focus on something for entrepreneurship as well. I'll try, Naresh. So coming back, uh, when you're looking at your interests, your interests kind of change also over time. You might have also certain hobbies and certain aspects that you like to do a lot, and there could be certain careers that open out of that as well. For example, if you're looking at sports, I know a lot of you students might be interested in sports, and sometimes you might also think that hey, it's very difficult to get into uh, a professional sporting career because very honestly speaking, it's far difficult to get into the Indian cricket team than even to crack the IITs, right? So can I look at a sporting career as well? But however, there are careers that are linked to sports, like sports management, sports journalism, sports medicine, sports physiotherapy, that you can keep close to your sports as well. So it doesn't mean that just because I can't get into a professional, become a professional athlete, I can't work in sports at all, right? So there are a lot of interest links that can take you to various interesting careers as well. Your values and motivation. So some of you mentioned salary and pay could be very important for you when you're choosing a career. Some of you might be thinking about work-life balance. What does work-life balance really mean? Could mean different things to different people. For me, it might mean that hey, as long as I want a break and I get it when I want it, I think I have a lot of work-life balance. For some people, it is I want to work a 9 to 5 job. For some people, it is having 2 weekends off. For some people, it is having 3 months off. And there are careers that might give you a 3 month off as well. I might cover some of them today. Uh, so all of your individual values and motivations are your own, and those could be the reasons you change and choose careers as well. Your contacts and network, your location and access to information also are very, very important factors when you would consider a career plan, right? So, having said that, I am going to take you through a few aspects which often are considered when you're choosing careers as well. I'm sure a lot of you have thought about this one word, which is what is the scope in this domain? In fact, some of your questions that you have filled up in your forms also had said, what is the scope in this domain? So, I'd like to ask the audience today if you can mention on chat, what does the word scope mean to you? If one of you want to, unmute and answer as well, even that's okay. I hope. What does the word scope mean to you? Future prospects, fair. Uh, right. So opportunities, avenues, fair enough. Now, while scope and those most of these definitions are based on market economics. So depending on the number of options available in the market for particular jobs, that is usually how people look at scope. However, there is one other aspect as well, which is individual capability, right? So I can't take advantage of the opportunities out there in the market if I don't have individual skill sets and aptitudes and the qualifications required to get them. So, for example, there might be a lot of opportunities for careers in STEM, but Thomas might not have a lot of opportunities in that space because I'm really bad at subjects like physics and chemistry, right? So if I don't have those subject requirements, I might not be able to get into certain careers. If I'm not skilled in certain areas, I might not be able to get into certain careers. And while you might crack the entrance exam and you might be qualified, we are also a country that unfortunately produces the largest number of engineers in the world, but we don't produce as many employable engineers, and that is a very long-lasting concern. Uh, that will also be one of the reasons why you notice that placement records have been deteriorating with some very prestigious institutions also over the last 2 or 3 years. Uh, so having said that, opportunities in careers are or scope actually depends on market economics and individual capability. So which is why I urge you parents and students to consider your strengths when you're making your choices. uh, I often see that students get into this trope of deciding on careers based on what their best friends tell them, or peer pressure, or social pressure that I have to take the subject combination, otherwise there is no respect in any other career. I have heard statements like that, and I feel personally that some of the happiest people I know are people who have pursued careers that work on these strengths, and there is a long-term evidence as well that your career growth depends on a lot of your individual strengths, which go beyond just academics. So I hope I'm making sense so far. And very quickly, how would you choose subjects for grade 11th and 12th? Like I saw that some of you did raise your hand when I asked that, I have chosen or I have decided or I have planned what I want to do next. May I ask all of you, how many of you are confused between multiple options? You're considering a few subjects, you're thinking about a few careers, but you're not very sure of which one to finalize on. How many of you fall under that category? If you could raise your hand and let me know, that'd be great. All right, thank you. So a few confused souls here, which is absolutely fine. Confusion is not your biggest enemy. It means you're thinking. It means you're considering options. It is a healthy part of the career planning process. And of course, since a lot of you did not raise your hands at all, I'm assuming there is a third category that neither has planned, neither is confused. So you probably have not even thought about what you want to do next. I'm here to not to make you feel worried that I haven't thought about anything till now. I'm here to let you know that this is the right time to start thinking. Uh, and the first step in your career journey would be the choice of the right subjects, the choice of the right boards, and that will play an important role in what kind of opportunities open up next. So thank you for answering. So usually when you're looking at subjects, it is best if you choose subjects that you love. It is best that you choose subjects that you're good at. And I know that a lot of students love the subjects that they're really good at, right? So also look at subjects that would keep your dream job open. The first two options are a no-brainer, but there are certain careers that require certain subjects, and not all of those subjects you may like. For example, in science, it's a buy one get two combo. You like physics, you take chemistry and maths, or chemistry and bio free, right? So, and certain entrance exams want you to take a group of subjects so that you are eligible for those entrance exams. I'm sure that there might be certain subjects you might not enjoy as much, but they are required for your dream job. If that is an eligibility subject, then even if you don't like it, you might still have to take it. And of course, there are certain universities that have very stringent criteria, certain entrance exams that have very stringent criteria for what subject combinations works for what kind of courses. So consider these two aspects as well while you're looking at subjects that you're really good at. This is usually a quick way to look at how do I choose my subjects. And I'm going to quickly jump into what kind of careers are linked to specific subject choices in grade 11. While the Vibgyor group of schools has a wide variety of subjects that have an offer across its various school campuses, I have not been able to consolidate all of those subjects here. So if any of you do have any questions, which I did see in the question form around what subjects are offered on various schools, I would request you to reach out to the schools individually. I think that the team members here also will be able to help you out with that. However, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to keep asking questions. Okay, so I hope that that's okay. How many of you here love numbers? Love mathematics? Love to work with numbers? Love that subject? Cool. How many of you like or want a high-paying job? I know a lot of you will raise your hand there. Okay. And how many of you want to be part of one of the most exclusive career clubs in the world? Great. So I think a lot of you are interested. With mathematics, there are a lot of careers that open up. And interestingly, if you actually look at the evidence, some of the highest paid jobs are directly linked to math, whether you're looking at data analytics, whether you're looking at chartered accountancy, CFA. We also have another career that is not very often discussed. Why only jobs are we discussing? Because these jobs are directly linked to subject choices that you're making, Pradeep. So I hope that answered your question. So one is the career in actuarial science. I don't know if any of you have heard about this career. So Pradeep, I didn't say that I'm not going to cover entrepreneurial. I will cover that in time. I hope that's okay. I'm going to start with maths. I'm going to move into science. I'm going to talk about commerce, and then I'm going to move into careers that are directly linked to humanities. So management will be covered with commerce. So I don't know if any of you heard about the career in actuary. If you heard about insurance, the people who design insurances, the people who quantify risk are actuaries. One of the highest paid jobs in the world today. It also requires a 10-year course where you have to take about 15 papers. And students who really love math, you can take an entrance exam called ACET to get into a institute called Institute of Actuaries India. It is similar in the way it functions like the Institute of Chartered Accountants India, or ICAI, where they don't have regular classes, they don't have a college, they have papers that you have to complete. You have to complete it with self-studies, and students who can take BSc Mathematics, Economics, or Statistics usually are well suited to take up an actuarial course with it. You can get into the insurance sector, you can get into the stock market as well. You could be a risk analyst as well with that kind of an understanding. And I think some of you might have gone through chapters in mathematics called probability. It becomes a foundational subject for a career in actuarial science. And of course, there are plenty of other courses that are affected by you taking up mathematics in grade 11 and 12. I remember some of the parents have asked that, can I take maths after science? Sure, you can. Can I take statistics after science? You can. You can take economics after science as well. Uh, as long as you had math till grade 12, all colleges in India are open to you for economics, so BSc in economics if you had maths till grade 12. And there are, of course, other courses that you see here on the screen. I will not dive deep into each of these careers. This is just for an overview of what kind of career opportunities are open through it. I'd like to also share with you the career dashboard. This is the dashboard that Vibgyor students get access to, and there are about 570 different careers mentioned here. And students can actually see what that career is. There are videos for it. What is the career actually about? Uh, what is the growth statistics or scope that we discussed? Uh, what are the actual career milestones? Meaning, what subjects do I take? What does my journey look from grade 10 till grade till and actually? Uh, and some interesting certifications that are linked to it, the skills and aptitude that are required, like we discussed, that you need to consider individual capability as well. And of course, what are the kind of organizations that hire actuaries across the world? So, and of course, there is a lot of other additional videos that some of the students and parents might find interesting, which are linked to this career, which is open source. So coming back to my presentation, I will keep jumping back to this dashboard to take you through various careers that I've discussed. So students, if you can raise your hand if you love working with machines, enjoy challenging competition. I don't know whether most of us will probably enjoy challenging competition, but and also like to work in a domain with the most amount of scope in terms of careers. Uh, you have physics, chemistry, and maths that have a lot of career opportunities that are directly linked to it. I'm not going to discuss the standard engineering options, but I think there are some parents who have asked that what are the kind of careers that are directly linked apart from engineering. So you have a lot of interesting careers that have opened up in material sciences that link back to battery technology, link back to renewable energy sources, drone technology as well. Of course, the Indian Air Force and Indian Navy, more career options are open if you taken PCM in grade 11th and 12th. Merchant Navy as well. If you remember, I talked that there are careers that may allow you to have 3-month vacations. So you can look at Merchant Navy where BSc Nautical Science and Marine Engineering could be courses that you can look at. So, and of course, there are certain careers, and of course, some of you had asked questions like, what are the kind of careers that I can pursue both from PCB or physics, chemistry, and bio, and physics, chemistry, and maths? The ones with the stars next to it, biotechnology, you can pursue a BSc without mathematics. Food technology, you can pursue a master's in food technology from CFTRI Mysore, which is one of the best institutions in the country. They require you to have a bachelor's, BSc degree in science. Any science would do, which is, it could be BTech, it could be BSc in botany, zoology, pure physics and chemistry as well. And you can pursue a food technology master's no matter what science undergraduate degree you've done. Pharmacology, again, open from both areas, for forensic sciences as well. If you have a PCMB, it helps even more. In fact, if you're looking at areas of research in science, it does help a lot if you have both bio and math. Nanotechnology, agriculture also open from both bio and math students. So moving on to the next part, which there are some students who like working with living organisms, like caring for them, and again want to work in a sector with most number of opportunities, which is healthcare and beyond. Uh, while of course the traditional pathway, and of course I want to ask students here as well, how many of you are looking at careers in healthcare? Uh, How about options pursued with PCMB? I hope, Harini, that answered your question in the previous slide. I'll also do an recap of all of this again. I know I'm moving a little fast because we have a little short time on our hands. Uh, with physics, chemistry, and bio too, apart from the standard MBBS and dentistry, you can also look at microbiology. You can also look at areas of nutrition and dietetics, agricultural sciences, again, both from open from both areas, biotechnology, environmental sciences, uh, forensic sciences. Indian Forest Services, of course, is part of civil services. You take in the pathway is different, though you need to complete a BSc degree to be able to be eligible for this area. You also need to have a fitness test along with your UPSC mains papers. Nanotechnology as well, though not a very popular undergraduate program in India, food technology and nanotechnology. You will find them more available at the master's level. You will find, of course, agronomy, agricultural sciences, soil sciences at the UG level across India. So these are the few courses. Again, the ones that you see in stars, Harini, are the ones that are open from both PCM and PCB. And of course, while we do often talk about careers in science, for the students who are not interested in science, there are careers open for you as well. Uh, so, if there are any of you who like reading about market trends, who are interested to understand how businesses are run, and like some of you had mentioned, you want to understand entrepreneurship as well, and how they raise capital, like to work in one of the most aspirational careers in business and finance, usually which is investment banking and consulting, you can look at commerce. However, if you're looking at areas of finance, it's better that you keep mathematics as a subject with grade 11th and 12th, so that undergraduate courses like economics, mathematics, statistics open up for you. A lot of colleges also will, in BBA, will also look for mathematics as well. Delhi University specifically for the CUET eligibility, you have to have a paper in math. You'll also have to take math in 11th and 12th to be able to be eligible for that. Bombay and Bangalore tends to be a little more relaxed with the math eligibility, but if you're looking at Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, uh, the most oldest institutions do require mathematics too. So it is better that you keep math along with commerce, so that areas like investment banking, chartered accountancy, uh, economics, stockbroking, of course, CS does not require a lot of mathematics, but people who are looking at CA, CFA, ACCA, there were questions around this also that I've noticed earlier, uh, that it is better that you are students who like numbers. If you fundamentally don't like numbers, then careers in finance are going to be really challenging. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but every single person I've met who's working in finance and who's thriving in it has one common skill set, which is they really love working with numbers. So if mathematics is a problem area right now, start working on it right now in grade 10, so that these careers are at least something that is more achievable, something that is more realistic for you. Now, having said that, a couple of questions that come up on ACCA and CMA and CFA. A lot of these courses are open to you only after you complete your graduation degrees. Uh, it is better off that you take in courses like finance, BCom, BBAs, economic statistics, mathematics, like I mentioned earlier, and you can get into areas like ACCA, CFA, and CMA as well. However, it is very, very important that you have subjects like accountancy in graduation. Uh, and that will help you transition into that space much more effectively. Uh, and of course, when you're looking at entrepreneurship, I know a lot of questions around, how do we start a business? To be very honest, there is no particular pathway or subject eligibility for entrepreneurship, right? It purely depends on what kind of business you want to start. So an MBA program is open to you from any degree that you've studied in college, right? So having said that, except for finance, which requires mathematics and certain numerical aspects in undergraduate programs, most of the other options like HR require you to just be a graduate, right? So, and secondly, if you ask me, look at the top businessmen in the world today. They have one thing in common: most of them don't have an MBA qualification as well. So most of them do have a expertise in the domain that they're working in. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, it makes more sense to dive deep and specialize in a particular area, so that you can build a business around it. So if you know enough about the domain that you're working in, you have enough subject knowledge to actually build a business around it. However, there have been entrepreneurs who have opened up or started businesses in which was not their expertise area as well. In fact, career counseling, iDream Career was started by Ayush, who is an engineer plus an MBA as well. So the point I'm trying to make is there is no particular standard pathway to get into entrepreneurship. The question really is that do you have an idea that is powerful enough to start working on? And if you have an idea that you have right now, which is completely novel, very new, then evidence will tell you, or historical evidence will tell you that the earlier you start, the better. Sometimes I've seen entrepreneurs not even wait for college to start off a business. So there's no standard rule for it. If you look at people around you who have been successful in businesses, the only thing that they all have in common, which is they're trying to solve a problem for others. Uh, and depending on how big that problem is and how efficiently you're able to solve that problem, is how good your business plan actually is. So, or else, if you're looking at another business which is already existing, can you do it faster or cheaper than your competition? Then you have a good business plan. So, the point I'm trying to make here is that if students are looking at entrepreneurship, commerce is not the only pathway to look at. You can look at any subjects combinations that you are really interested in, and that could open up doorways for you. So, I hope that answered your question. For some of you who had asked about entrepreneurship as well. Uh, so the next part, how many of you would like to work towards improving the quality of life for other people? Uh, how many of you like working in the betterment of society and humanity at large? If you can raise your hand. I know that Amit, you had your hand raised throughout, but if you are interested here as well, I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay, so interesting and very noble of you all to think about working for other people. If you like solving human problems, you can look at careers with humanities as well, where psychology, anthropology can take you into areas where you're solving human problems. Psychology works with mind and behavior, and if you ask me, the application of psychology is relevant wherever understanding people is important. Uh, Psychology plays a very important role in areas like advertising and marketing, because if you don't know how people think, how they purchase, you won't know how to sell to them, right? Psychologists also work in schools and in areas of counseling and therapy. They've also worked in research. So if some of you like playing video games, a lot of your horror video games and a lot of your horror movies have been designed by psychologists. In fact, today, interestingly, the gaming industry has hired more historians, more architects, and more psychologists uh, than most other domains together. If some of you are like, have hobbies in gaming, while gaming itself is a very, very tough career to actually, sustain over a long period of time, you can look at areas like psychology, design, coding as well, and they could take you into pathways in game design too. In fact, I have seen people who have studied anthropology, who have designed really interesting toys, who have designed really interesting games as well. So all of these subjects, while of course there are certain very serious applications where you're working towards areas like public policy, you're working in sociology, you're working in research, you're working in therapy, where you're working for the betterment of others. There are also a lot of really fun areas to go and see through humanities as well. Uh, I've seen, like I said, historians. I've seen a lot of them work as consultants for game designers. I have seen a lot of historians work with media and movie makers as well as consultants for documentaries and movies too. In fact, there are historians who were consulted for certain historical period dramas that you might have watched recently. Uh, they consulted for various specific things like what is the texture of cloth that was used back in the day, and all of these things come in very interestingly from people who have done research in these areas. Political science and psephology. Psephology, I think a lot of you might be exposed to right now during election season. These are people who study election patterns. Uh, Very good mix of having statistics, economics, and psychology and political science as subject combinations, where you can open up areas like psephology. You'll be working as consultants for various media agencies. You can. They are also authors. They are also consultants. They also work with various policy think tanks as well. So you would find various interesting career domains that are opening up from careers with humanities, and of course some of you like languages. You can look at areas like linguistics, uh, also train in languages, be translators, interpreters, and so on. And you might see a small segment at the bottom which says open to all streams. This means that these are group of subjects that careers that are open to you no matter what subjects you have taken in grade 11th and 12th. uh, in law, you can study any subject combination and CLAT is open to you. uh, However, if you had subjects like pol science, like legal studies, it would be very useful to prepare for the CLAT exam. But having said that, science students and commerce students also have cracked the CLAT exam without having studied those subjects. So it's a question of whether how well you prepare for that particular entrance exam as well. Uh, and of course, there are science students who have a very interesting pathway that opens up for them in law, which is intellectual property rights, or geographical property rights. So you have IP law, which is interestingly opening up for students with a science background. Uh, Someone had asked about mass communication and journalism as well. Mass communication, again, open to you from any stream. You can take a bachelor's in journalism from any subject combination in grade 11th and 12th. It is open to you from all areas. But if you like languages, if you have a flair for languages, if you like subjects like history, pol science, it helps. There are some of you who like drawing and sketching. You could open up careers for you in design, where a bachelor's in design today is open to you from any subject combination, except UC. If you want to study bachelor's in design at the IITs, the UC exam will require you to take a science or PCM in 11th and 12th. However, NID entrance exam, which is NID DAT, the NIFT entrance exam does not require a science background in 11th and 12th. Uh, Indian Army open to you from all streams. Air Force and Navy, the technical roles certainly will require science backgrounds. Consultants could be from any domain. They need to be subject matter experts to be consultants. Academics, again, from any domain. I could choose my favorite subject and become an academician, teacher, professor in that area. And like I said earlier, design is open to you if you have, a creative bent of mind. If you like drawing and sketching, apart from fine arts, some of you who like maths, physics, and drawing and sketching as well can look at areas like architecture. Some of you who like mathematics, which I might not have mentioned earlier, can also look at a career in planning or called urban planning. So you can look at those kind of domain options as well. So having said that, I want to quickly jump back to the dashboard and take you through a few careers that I've discussed so far. So, and I think some of you had also asked about what are the various colleges that we can look at from, various from various courses. So we have a college listing across countries in India and 16 other countries as well. And you have multiple domains that you can look at. So if you're looking at art and design, uh, and you want to look at a professional career and undergraduate program, a country like India, and you can choose a state as well. So let's say, for example, we can take Maharashtra as an example, and you automatically see that the careers that are there in Maharashtra are alphabetically listed here. And when you click on these colleges, it will also give you details about what that college is, what are the various courses that are on offer in that college, apart from the one that you're looking for. Uh, and you would also find information on scholarships and entrance exams as well. So this dashboard is, again, like I said, is accessible to students from Vibgyor group of schools. You can also go to idreamcareer.com and find this dashboard as well there. Now coming back to my presentation, I know that I've kind of moved really fast over various careers. So this is the overview for those of you who wanted to understand which careers or which subject combinations have what kind of careers open. Uh, I also would want to open up to Q&A. What is academics? So yeah, Girvan, academics means careers in teaching. In if you want to become a professor, you want to become a researcher. Academics is those kind of career domains. So if there are any other questions in the meantime, I'd like to answer questions around that too. You can raise your hand and let us know if you have any questions, or you can put it on chat, and I'd love to be able to answer them. And meanwhile, I'll have a look at the questions that have come in so far on your forms, and I'll try and see if I not answered any questions from there itself. So there was one question on business management courses, BBA, BFIA, Bachelor's in Management Studies, or Bachelor's in Business Studies, or Business Economics, are all courses that are business management courses typically at the undergrad level. There was a question on how to go into sound engineering. So sound is usually acoustics, directly linked to physics. If you have PCM in grade 11th and 12th, you can get into sound engineering as well. However, India is not usually a very popular place to pursue sound engineering. Students I've seen have either studied BSc physics in graduation and went on to master in sound engineering after their graduation. You could also take in a BTech in mechanical engineering and get into that pathway of sound engineering too. You can also take up diploma programs that are available in India along with your engineering degree, and you can find career opportunities that open up in sound engineering. How easy or difficult is the CLAT exam, and what is the eligibility? So, Anaida, easy or difficult is a very subjective question. It depends on how well you're prepared. What is the eligibility? They don't care what subjects you've studied in grade 11th and 12th, as long as you passed grade 12. So, any subject combination is open to you from, for CLAT. What is the difference between undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate? So, undergraduate programs are people who have not completed graduation, which is right after 12th. A graduate program is once you complete graduation. So LLB, law, not the BLLB. BLLB is an undergraduate integrated batch, law program, which you can start right after 12. But there are also LLB programs which are only available to you after graduation. So you could study a BA, BSc, BTech, whatever, and then go into an LLB program. That's what typically is a graduate program. Postgraduate is, of course, PG programs, which is your master's degrees or PG diploma programs. I hope that answered your question, Girish. Any other questions so far? And I've kept this screen here on purpose so that while you're looking at this, you can probably ask a couple of questions as well. Cryptology, I haven't covered. Cryptology, the ones of you who like math and eventually want to work in code breaking, if you like movies like The Imitation Game, cryptology is an area that you can get into. A lot of students have asked me in the past that how do I get into raw? Uh, Having a strong interest in math can get you there. Cyber security also can get you there. Ethical hacking can get you there. Where do you get postgraduate programs? You get postgraduate programs in India. So most universities will have postgraduate programs, whether it's a diploma or a degree. So if you're looking at IIMs, you might have a PGDM program. Some of them might give you a degree program as well. So it depends on the institute that is giving you that program, but a postgraduate program could be both a degree, it could be a diploma, and so on. What do you have to study if you have an interest in stock market, crypto market trading? Now, typically in India, crypto market trading is not recognized. So you'll have to be a little careful there whether the country that you're doing the trading in, whether it allows it. But if you're looking at stock market, there are courses. Mumbai is a very popular place to go and study it. But I've seen a lot of the people who currently work in that domain uh, have worked under people who have been working in the stock market for a very long time. So usually, if you like numbers, it becomes a little easier for you to work in that space. And if you studied areas like bachelor's in finance or BFIA, it makes a lot more sense because you might not want to work in stock market for an extended period. So you'd rather look at a degree program that opens up more doors for you. And stock market could be one of the careers that you're looking at. What colleges would be good if you want to pursue psychology? So today, if you look at the top colleges in the country, you might want to look at NIRF. In DU, there are multiple colleges depending on there are a lot of colleges like Lady Shriram that are one of the top colleges in the country for psychology. Uh, Sophia Mumbai has a very good program in psychology. Bombay, so Bangalore as well. You have Mount Carmel for which is for women. You have SP Jains also, which have a fantastic program in psychology as well. You have Ethraj College in Chennai, which has a fantastic program in psychology as well. So uh, each city has its own group of very good institutions. In fact, if you look at DY Patil in Pune, they also have a very good psychology program. Uh, BTech in AI or BTech in AI is more in scope. Uh, you asked me to compare both BTech in AI or BE in AI. A bachelor's in engineering and bachelor's in technology, if you go into the job market today, they mean the same thing. Uh, it is just that institutions have retained the BE and some institutions have preferred to use the word bachelor's in technology. Uh, Bachelor's in technology was a terminology that was used much more recently than BE. BE has been the course name for a very long period since the 60s. But if you look at the job market today, I have worked before I became a career counselor. I have spent 4 years in companies like Wipro where I was hiring and firing engineers. If you look at the IT sector, we have hired people from the petroleum engineering segment as well. Uh, Organizations really don't care whether you're a BTech or a BE as long as you know your domain very well, as long as you have soft skills, as long as you have great communication skills, as long as you're confident about what you know, uh, and you can learn very things very quickly. So very honestly, if you look at TCS, in Google's hiring patterns over the last 10 years, they don't really care whether you're a PE or a BTech. As long as you come from a good institution, you know your subject matter. I'm interested in biology, history, literature, computers. What career options should I look at? Uh, if you ask me, Vidya, history is a part of almost every subject out there. So when you're studying biology, it doesn't mean that history is out of it. Or when you're studying literature, you don't have history at all. Or when you're studying computers, there's no history at all. Right? History becomes an intrinsic part of you understanding what is the basis of what theoretical knowledge you're learning right now. Right? So, however, if you have interest in these varied areas, you could also look at courses in liberal arts where you can choose a combination of subjects that is not usually available to you at your standard BA or BSc program. It can take you into very interesting spaces of research. I've seen this combination of biology, history, literature, computers can take you into areas like biomimetics or uh, you know uh, biodesign, uh, you might want to check out few careers in that space. There are people who are working in material sciences where they're using or copying natural systems to see how well you can efficiently create surfaces that are efficient, right? So material sciences is one place that you certainly will find a lot of interesting career options for yourself. AI front-end application side, not technical part. What is the ideal thing to do? Naresh, if you're in grade 10, it's too early to look into this right now. Uh, because very honestly, I don't know whether AI front-end application will probably last by the time you complete your degree program. AI is functioning far more faster than we have predicted. So very honestly, by the time you graduate, you might have functional AGI as well. So what I'm trying to say right now is a lot of the careers that you're seeing right now that pop up, even prompt engineering, might only be required as long as AI is in its rudimentary phases. As AI moves or progresses faster, maybe a certain number of career domains will become redundant. So if you're in grade 10, I don't think this is the most ideal time to decide whether the front end application side is more effective. You rather focus on whether you have, a thorough understanding of the programming language that you're using. You have a thorough understanding of logic and algorithms. Then you can go and apply that knowledge and skill set, no matter how much, the programming side or the AI side has progressed, because you'll find yourself fitting into some domains there. So can you suggest some good colleges for BBA? SPJN is a reputed institution for BBA in Bangalore. What are material sciences? So this is something that I think I might not be able to tell you everything about it, but like I said, battery technology today, if you're looking at solar panels as well, a lot of it is because of material scientists, right? If you do not have efficient systems to capture energy, uh, and there's a lot of research on what type of glass material or semi-glass materials can be used for solar power, right? So that's an application of material sciences. Uh, is there any specific entrance exam that you want to give if you want to pursue psychology? It depends on which university you want to apply to. DU certainly CUET. Maharashtra, a lot of colleges look for MHCET. So yes, uh, if the child does not crack NEET and gets a low score, what are the other options with PCB? I don't think a student who is not able to crack NEET should be looking at medicine or veterinary science or healthcare. I think there are a lot of great options in research. If you can look at food sciences, you can look at nutrition sciences, you can look at agricultural sciences as well, material sciences too, like I was discussing, Sarmishta, that you can look at because I don't think every student who's great at bio is designed for medicine. Uh, I've seen a lot of students who even crack the NEET exam who struggle with with the area because unfortunately most of them have been told that if you like bio, the only career for you is medicine, right? So I think that there are genuinely really good other career options in research that are growing really fast. There are domains in biomedical engineering that require both bio and math, and they work exclusively in areas of building, machines that are useful in medicine, right? So your MRI scanners and so on. Without biomedical engineers, you wouldn't be able to get there. So even if you're a bio and math student and you've not cracked the NEET exam, there are tons of other domains that you can go into. So what are the good colleges for mass communication? IIMC, which is Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Delhi. Jamia Millia, you have Ethiraj College in Chennai. In Bangalore, you have uh, Christ as well, that has a good program in that. You have Xavier's Bombay and Calcutta that have good mass comm programs. Sapphire Bombay also has a good mass comm program. Uh, there are colleges, Akash, that provide actual science courses, but they are not qualified to provide you a certification to become an actuary. You still have to take the IAI process where you have to register for the IIA institute after you register for a college. You have to take the ACET exam, and while you're doing your college, you have to also take your IAI papers, which is for actuarial sciences. So there are courses in degree courses in actuarial sciences, but they are 4-year programs, and you will have to take 10 years worth of papers in actuarial sciences to actually call yourself a qualified actuary. So while there are courses and there are available in Bombay and Bangalore as well, you can get in from economics, mathematics, statistics too. I think some of the best institutions in the country for eco math and stat is ISI. So you have ISI Chennai, Delhi, Calcutta, which have a separate entrance exam called ISI 80. What are the colleges for genetic engineering? Harini, you can go in from areas of microbiome, of biotechnology, of botanical sciences, of life sciences as well. You can go in from medical as well, because genetic engineering is not a very common course to be found in UG. You can go and specialize in areas of genetics through multiple pathways. In fact, there are areas of bioinformatics as well if you like math. But genetic engineering is not a very common course to find at the UG level. You will find pathways to it from biotech, from pure sciences as well. All right. And I think some of the questions that you are asking, I'm not an encyclopedia, so I might not be able to readily do the research. I think some of these questions you can easily find out. In fact, you can go to the Ideal Career website as well. You can register there. You should be able to find a lot of these colleges there. But if you are a class 10 student, you have time on your hands to figure out the colleges. It's right now the best time to figure out which subjects you need to take. Uh, as long as you know what entrance exam to prepare for right from grade 11, and as long as that entrance exam opens up more college options, uh, with the Vibgyor group of schools, we have worked with students grade from grade 8, 9th, 10th. We have students from grade 11th and 12th as well that have continued working with us over a period of years, because we believe that you should be able to first focus on the areas that is relevant to you at this point in time, which is subject choices, board choices, and the school that you want to go and study in. In grade 11th, it is the entrance exam that you want to start preparing for. And by the time you're in grade 12th, then you have a short list of uh, colleges that you can look at. And it's healthy to have more than 4 or 5 colleges that you want to shortlist. Now, to come to that conclusion, it takes a certain amount of time of research. So that is why the dashboard like this would be able to help you out with it. How good do your grades need to be to get into UK university? UK cares a lot about your grade 9th and 11th, 12th grades. So as long as your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grades have been good, when I say good, aim for an 85% and above. But it has to be really good. The better the college, the better the grades, of course. So if you're looking at the Oxbridges of the world, the Ivy Leagues of the world, you do need to have a great academic record. Though if you're looking at US and Canada right now, SAT and SATs, ACTs are optional. But if you're looking at UK, your 11th and 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th marks are very, very important, especially your 10th, 11th, and 12th. So, in summary, I would just like to remind students and, of course, parents as well that it's always beneficial to look at your child's individual strengths, and that reaps long-term benefits in career growth. What I mean to say by this is a student who's struggling with a science need not take a science. You have tons of career options that are open beyond science as well. A student who gets a 95% in humanities has more scope than a student who gets a 65% in science. So looking at your academic strength, looking at your aptitude, looking at your personality, your interest areas, what kind of career areas you want to work in, the brands like you mentioned, comfort like you mentioned are very, very important aspects to consider. Uh, and we did a survey amongst engineers that we knew across the country, and we found that only 53% engineers actually end up working in a career that has been directly linked to their UG program. Only 53% of them. Even less, 68% of graduates pursue a completely different career after 5 years of graduation. Why am I saying this to you? Because no matter how much you plan, there might be always things that might change. You might have a change in interest. You might have a change in heart. You might be looking at careers that are very different from now. In fact, when I was 10 years old, I wanted to become a pilot. When I was 15, I wanted to become a football player. By the time I was 20, I wanted to become a chef. My interests keep fluctuating a lot, and I'm thinking that some of you students also fall under the same category, that your interests keep moving around. So what I'm trying to say is that you might not always end up in the career that you have studied in college for, and that's fine. As long as you know what you're good at, as long as you are pursuing a career which you're really interested in, and you're willing to work towards it, you're willing to build skills towards it, those kind of career options kind of open up in the long term anyway. Uh, and even in career domains like medicine, where students have studied that subject very, very particularly for that career itself. uh, Medicine and merchant navy are the few courses where highest number of students have pursued that career domain. 80% of students have done that, and this is based on a NSS survey that was conducted back in 2017-18. I'm yet to see another research or survey being done after that, but there is a high amount of stickiness. But still, 100% of qualified MBBS students don't become doctors. They work in areas of public health. I know a lot of doctors who applied for UPSC. I know doctors who have gone back to teaching because they didn't want to be practicing doctors as well. And of course, your career interests will fluctuate due to shifts in labor market in the economy. New inventions also will shift your interests a lot. So after AI came in, I know a lot of career domains, a lot of shifts in career interests have happened, not only for students but also for adults. So some of your parents also might have changed the way they're looking at various careers after AI has come in, right? And also your financial and familiar needs will also determine what kind of career interest you have at a particular time, right? So some of you, money might be very important now, but maybe 15 years later, work-life balance might be more important, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that you are a generation that probably will change its careers over 5 or 6 times. There is a lot of research about it. I already have changed my career 3 times in my 15 years. Uh, so as long as you're focusing on skills, you're focusing on strengths, you should be in a good place. But in grade 10 is a good place to start. You are choosing the subjects that you really like. You are choosing the subjects that will keep your dream jobs open, will keep your dream colleges open as well. And if you're confused about those areas, you've come to the right place. Vibgyor takes his career counseling, interventions very seriously. And over the last few years that we've been working with the school, we've noticed that because of these career guidance interventions, a lot of students and parents have been able to have a very clear pathway as to what to do next. A lot of the stress of planning and deciding, can be addressed with, systematic career guidance interventions. So having said that, I think I'm at the 8 o'clock mark. We have a good amount of time to handle more Q&A if there are more queries. Uh, and I'm open to any queries. And also, if the Vibgyor team wants to take over from this point, more than welcome to. Open to hear more queries on the chat, or if you want to raise your hand and ask as well, don't hesitate to ask, please. I see a hand raised. Vishal, do you have a question? I do see someone called Rachna who started to ask a question, but I think stopped midway. Uh, I've tried to answer all of the other questions I've seen here. I've answered most of the questions that have been asked in the query chat as well, or on the form as well. Uh, Either I've answered all the questions that are there, or maybe my session was so boring that nobody had any questions to ask. Uh, okay, I do see another question. If we get less percentage in maths and science in grade 10th board exams, then can we take science subjects? That depends on the school. Every school has its own criteria. Depending on the school that you are studying in or you plan to get into, do take cognizance of the fact that there will be certain criteria or certain benchmarks at every school. They vary from school to school, though. Uh, However, it is, if you are already thinking about that you're going to get a very low percentage, I think this is the right time to start working on it and ensure that you don't get a low percentage by the time you complete your goals. But usually, if you haven't been able to fix your foundation aspects in science and mathematics in grade 10, the reasons why schools have a benchmark or a certain filter is because students really struggle in grade 11th if the foundational aspects of science and math is not sorted in grade 10. And grade 10 board exams are a good way to figure out whether your foundations are clear. So that's one of the reasons why schools do have that benchmark. Right. So again, phonology is the study of science in language, sounds in language. You have phonetics and phonology where you I have seen even large language models. They're trying to learn even how AI can generate speech. It's already doing that. So phonology or phonetics is a very important role to play there. In fact, if you ever thought about Girvan, the reason why people who speak English across the world they sound different is because of phonetics. Accents are the reasons why, and accents are defined by the way you pronounce and enunciate particular sounds in a particular word, right? So that's phonetics. So if you are interested in how languages are built, how are they spoken, uh, a lot of careers in international, surveys domains. In fact, IT and ITES sectors, where you have clients across the world, there's a lot of training and emphasis on neutralizing accents. That is where I've seen phonetics plays a very, very interesting role in the IT sector today. But I've also seen in training of AI systems, phonetics plays a role, in fact, to understand languages and the history as well. Sneha, you can take economics after science as long as you had math in 11th and 12th. Most colleges, all colleges in the country will be open to you if you have math at least in 11th and 12th. So you can take a BSc or BA economics in graduation. If a child does his 11th and 12th overseas, does his or her chance of securing admission in good university gets increased, or how? Uh, it really depends on the profile of the student. If you're applying back to India, there are certain colleges in India that have domicile quotas where you have to spend the last 2 years of your schooling, at least, or last 2.5 years of your schooling in that city or that state. So DTU, NSIT in Delhi has a domicile quota. There are certain colleges in Maharashtra, Mumbai as well that have a domicile quota. So those might be affected, but uh, if you're studying outside, does it improve your chances? It purely depends on how how well the student has been able to utilize the facilities at that school in 11th and 12th, how their academic grades have been, and what the profile of the student is. So apart from the academics, what other co-curriculars have they done? What areas do they deep dive into? What are their strong passions and interests? Those aspects also get considered in universities across the world. In fact, there are certain universities in India also that don't only look at an entrance exam; they also look at an interview. They look at multiple aspects. So it really depends on that. So there is no hard and fast rule, or there is no pattern that I've noticed that just because a student is studied in a particular school, it provides a particular advantage. But certain schools are better positioned to be able to nurture students for an overseas education. So Sanjay, iDream Career has a psychometric assessment that we use with Vibgyor students. It evaluates aptitude, personality, and interest, and we've used it for more than 20 million students so far. In fact, the Vibgyor group has been using our psychometric use assessments as well. Uh, it will help you understand what your various career domains could be, what your probabilities to these career pathways could be as well. And it gives you an individual understanding of what your aptitude, your personality, your interest looks like. Girvan, phonology and phonetics could actually take you to accent training as well. Uh, Vidya, you can reach out to with your team, and they can tell you how to enroll for our system. You can also go to the iDream Career website, and from there we can figure it out. You can reach out to the Vibgyor team as well, and they can help you out to how to register for this. Akash, like I mentioned earlier, for actuarial science, number one is you need to love maths. You need to take the ACET entrance exam to pursue actuary in India. So you have IAAI, which is Institute of Actuaries India, which has an ACET entrance exam that you can take only after your grade 12 is done. And to be able to get admission into the institute after your entrance exam is over, you will also require a proof here of your admission certificate. So you have to take admission into a UG program to be able to pursue the actuarial science course from IAI. So while you can take the entrance exam before you get admission into a college, while you take admission into IAI, which will be slightly later because your UG college admissions happen sometime in June, July, and you start classes as early. In some places, I've seen classes start in June as well. In many cases, it is July and August. But the admission to IAI happens sometime after that. So after you got admission to a college, you can use that proof of admission as part of your eligibility to get in after you've cleared the ACET exam. I hope that answers your question, Akash. So if there are no other questions, Pranavji, if we you probably can take over from here. I can stop my screen share. I don't see a lot of other questions coming in.
Yeah. So thank you, Thomas sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for
Uh,
participating and joining. Yeah. Thomas sir. Yeah.
no problem. I just want to thank everyone for being participative, asking questions, raising hands, and of course joining on time. I hope this was a useful use of your time as well, because I understand it's an evening on a weekday, and most of us might be traveling, might be also exhausted after a very long day from work. Thank you, parents and students, for joining in on a weekday as well. And with the Vibgyor team, we have conducted a lot of workshops in the past, and we hope to continue to do so. And like they showed you earlier, there are systematic times that we conduct these workshops so that parents and students have a lot of clarity. So there are a couple of feedback forms that are being shared on the chat. I would request all of you to please fill up the feedback form as well. And thank you very much for joining, everyone.